Jai Hind viewers, we come back to you again today for another interview with one of our very eminent members on the completion of 1 year of MRO Digest Forums. We have with us today Lieutenant General Dr. Anil Kapoor, who served as the Director General, Electronics and Mechanical Engineers and Director General Info Systems. He's a chartered engineer. He was awarded the Eminent Engineer Award 2020 by Institution of Engineers. He is a professor of practice at IIT Tirupati and also a board member in their innovation hub. He writes and speaks on emerging technologies like C7 ISR and AI in many publications and platforms. General Kapoor, may I have firstly your impressions of what has transpired, the last 1 year? What do you feel about it? Where have we reached? General Kapoor, please.
Sir, firstly, thank you for introducing me, and good day to the viewers. It's been a great forum that has got generated in the field of maintenance, repair, and overhaul. We've had a huge amount of think tank discussions happening globally, if I may say, on YouTube, on Spotify, and normally what is covered are perhaps the technology aspects, the logistics aspects, but never MRO aspects. And I think life cycle sustenance is where the crux of the whole issue lies. So all those of us who experience the power of MRO through our service, having been from the core of electronics and mechanical engineering, I think we do realize that this is the jugular vein of technology. This is the jugular vein of equipment, and this is the jugular vein of combat effectiveness when we look at it from the defense perspective, and a great ROI production-oriented activity which builds reliability into the system and in an overall analysis builds mission reliability, whether it is a combat mission or it is a production mission in industry. So I think as a forum, it's been a great opportunity for us to put together our views. And some of the views, you've been kind to allow debate, so there have been debates. But at the end of the day, I think we have all converged to make our viewers realize the importance of MRO in whichever field they are. And that's been the crux of your initiative. And before I conclude this answer, I must say compliments to you, sir, for putting this together in a manner that we are able to speak, we are able to do panel discussions, we are able to ideate, and also it's a forum where we can write. And since verbally you can speak only so much and no more, but when you write, you actually put together a thought process, right from maybe inception to putting it together for views, comments. And I think that way, it's a very veritable forum. And if I may also say that Rahul Matharu has really given us a great MRO platform, which allows us to do anything and everything that we have on mind. So really speaking, you ideate something and the platform does it for you. So I think in an overall analysis, it's been a very enriching 1 year for me, because while you carry your experiences, views, perceptions, you don't normally get exposed to what others want to say. And while in service, you definitely do get to hear views. But post-retirement, I think it's a great forum and everybody can speak their mind freely on issues which are upmost in their mind. So to that extent, I think one has come out very rich, huge amount of learning, and we continue learning every day at every moment. And it's been a great 1 year for all of us who got associated. And through this interview, I'd like to, should I say, exhort everyone who's a professional to become part of this journey. It will help them in their lives, in their professional lives, for sure. Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this forum.
Thank you, Anil. It's very kind of you to say that. But the forum is only a platform, and really is enriched by personas like yourself who have got so much of wisdom to offer. Which I honestly, many things which you have mentioned, I have seen them for the first time. Like you said you have gained from others. So now, in what way do you think that the past year have we been able to contribute towards, in some manner, some idea for nation building, and how can we contribute further for nation building as a platform? Anil, please.
Yeah, actually, MRO is one big key driver for comprehensive national power. I would like to start with this thought. And the reason is that when we look at Atmanirbhar Bharat, when we look at an industrial corridor or the defense industrial corridor, the production of a equipment is just the start point of the ROI. Actually, if it is a commercial equipment, the exploitation over 15 years is the life cycle which gives you a new dividend of ROI, which you cannot ignore because you are the production agency or the OEM, original equipment manufacturer. And therefore, it is very incumbent upon you to keep your customers enchanted, and I call it customer ecstasy. I mean, your customer should be excited about the Toyota or the Nissan or the Maruti or the BMW or the Mercedes that he's bought, not because of the brand value, but because of the life cycle support, which is fairly or equally, if not more, exciting. So I think it's a journey of excitement, and so that becomes a big parameter of ROI. When we look at it from the defense perspective, we exploit technologies of yesterday right through till the future. I mean, the number of years that equipment remains in useful life may be anything from 40 to 60 years. This is the time window in which you would change maybe 4 cars. But you continue to remain with the same Cheetah helicopter or T-70 tank. And I think as a MRO perspective, and when we look at it from a national or a defense perspective, it's a huge challenge to manage technology obsolescence and technology upgrades in a, should I say, environment of technology denial. And that's where the challenge lies. It's how you actually manage the obsolescence through upgrade by using the power of technology and innovation, which is also a great vision for each one of us who've been associated with MRO, that how you look at life is that you look at upgrading an equipment at the right time. Because the intention is that the legacy must be as good as new. And moment you did a major maintenance, a major repair, or an overhaul, when it lands into the hands of the troops, the excitement and the confidence that the user must have in that equipment should be high. So I think from a national perspective, now that Atmanirbhar Bharat is stepping out into exports, and that's one of our cardinal, should I say, drivers of economy, we should not stop but look at the whole life cycle, sustenance support cycle globally. And therefore, I think it is here where, as MRO professionals, we all can make a difference in adding immense value to everything that gets exported, whether it's a car, any commercial product, or even a defense equipment. The other issue I want to break out is that with the near collapse of Russia and Ukraine, which were 2 big powers in the MRO industry, especially when it came to tanks and a lot of mechanical oriented equipment, I think this is a vacuum, if I may say, a MRO vacuum which has got generated. And India, and maybe the all of us who've been handling defense equipment in particular, have a huge opportunity. And I would say as a nation, we look at this as one of the dividend which happens not only in Ukraine and Russia, it happens globally wherever these equipment have gone. I think India can step up as the 5 trillion economy vision to maybe a 10 trillion economy by 2030 if we looked at the power of MRO. And here I'd like to say that as per one of the global studies on MRO, it says that in 2021, the sum total of MRO globally was $700 billion. And by about 2030, it is supposed to escalate to $870 billion. Now, if that is the landscape with aviation and renewable energies being big tickets, now when we look at India, in 2021, our figures read 1.7 billion. Where is 700 and where is 1.7 billion? And now when we look at 2030, we are talking of 10 billion against an $870 billion global expectation. So I think if we focus on this in this area, we can create a huge Atmanirbhar Bharat and a huge global footprint. I think this is the vaccine, if I may say, this is the Covishield of equipment. We provided Covishield to the world. I think this is the Covishield of equipment that we can provide to the world. And high time, the Niti Aayog report of October 22 is put into motion. And to that extent, I think our forum of MRO can play a stellar role in coordinating this, in planning this, and in directing this effort. So from a perspective of the nation, I think there's a huge opportunity from here to eternity. Take it or leave it. And I would rather take it.
Thank you, Anil, for that. You've already given a vision of what can be done and, attached figures to it. And so that makes it very clear that there's a lot of work which is possible. And I'm sure our forum can contribute. And towards that end, may I ask you to be, tell us in what do you think the forum, the way forward for us ought to be to, somehow bring about what you have just mentioned in some manner. Anil, please.
Right. Now, a couple of things that we need to put together as a forum. I would say that as a forum, we know the legacy, we know the present condition, and we also have a little peek into the future. So I think the whole spectrum of activity which life cycle sustenance support requires, that knowledge exists with us. And that is a good start point, if I may say. So I think as a forum, the first thing is we need to get hold of legacy, because not only Indian Army or Air Force or Navy, globally, armed forces cannot keep in step with technology by changing the equipment, but they can keep in step with technology by upgrading the equipment. Today, when we look at any system or any asset, and I always say these have all got digitized and software defined. And I refer to this as humanized assets. So assets have got humanized in a manner that semiconductors and software, and when I say semiconductor, I mean sensors, IoTs, that is the hardware aspect. And when I say software, it is big data analytics that gets generated, AI. I think both these together have created a kind of a major paradigm shift and a disruption in the MRO industry. And over the 40 years plus service that we've had in the Army, we have seen how the MRO of yesterday is so different than MRO of today and tomorrow. And I think MRO of tomorrow is going to be radically different than what it is even today. And the sooner we realize it, the better it is. So I think the first thing that we could do is managing legacy. Let's pick up legacy and make it smart, tuned. So that is an area where we can actually help the OEMs who are actually largely Indians today. And in some cases, if it is import, we can definitely cull out upgrade strategy for them and work out a mechanism to manage legacy. The second is, when we look at the future, I think every GSQR, every design parameter must have in it ingrained the aspect of a digitized software system, which we in electronics term called built-in test equipment, so that the equipment tells us the green zone, when we need not do anything. The amber zone, when it is critical and therefore something needs to be done from a MRO intervention perspective. And the red zone, when it talks of crisis, if you didn't do it. So I think we can aid the decision support system of equipment maintenance from a periodic preventive way of doing it to a predictive prescriptive way of doing it. And that's a major change, because when we look at all the pillars of sustainment, especially spares, you could actually graduate to a very lean inventory. When you look at timings, your downtimes can go very, very low, because you're going to look at a just-in-time maintenance rather than the just-in-case, which periodic and preventive maintenance help us to do to retain reliability. After all, the intent is to be reliability-centric. The third is that, especially in the armed forces globally, most of our concerns are that most of the equipment actually sits in garages, except during exercises or during military operations. And this is the time when hell of a lot of maintenance activity goes on, in addition to routine use. So I think this is another area where we can build confidence in the user that if it does not need maintenance, let's not do it. Let's not over maintain equipment because I feel I should do it. And therefore, I think when we look at this whole conundrum of MRO into the future, what we have to look at is first managing legacy. And concurrently, as we manage legacy, we look at future progression to create equipments, to create products which talk and tell you when they would need maintenance and when there is no problem. And the third, of course, which we talked earlier, is that as India, as Atmanirbhar Bharat, as Make in India, MRO has to come into the center stage. In fact, that can be a USP. When we are going to export, we are going to tell them that we are with you from here to eternity. Till you use this equipment, you will have our dedicated support. And when we look at skills, I think we need to upgrade ourselves to create that kind of a infrastructure. We do have skill development universities now. I think MRO should become a big focus there, so that if, just as an example, Bharat Forge, who's exporting ATAGs, needs to create a skill development for its system, it could actually give certified, trained manpower to one of the skill universities. So skill universities, rather than get to basics, which is, I always call it, which is the systems way of training, can get into the product way of training. And I think that is going to be another big paradigm shift, which skill development universities and that's what I call as academia industry interface. I think that is the paradigm we have to get into: certification for systems, basic drills and skills, and a certified product specialist. That is going to create entrepreneurs, that's going to create startups, that's going to create a footprint abroad of MRO professionals. And today we say India has got the maximum number of CEOs in Fortune 500. Today, out of 500, 60 CEOs are from India, the highest. I think time is not far, if we do all realize the nucleus of life cycle sustenance support lying in MRO, that India will become a preferred partner for life cycle sustenance support at MRO. And that should be our vision as a nation when we progress into exports, when we progress into Atmanirbharta, and when we progress into MRO. MII, Make in India. MRO has to be, the life cycle has to be looked at realistically, aggressively, progressively, and through creating the customer ecstasy. To that extent, I want to give one more thought here, that I think time has come for industry also to realize that enhancing technical thresholds of their manpower is part of their responsibility. You have to make sure the way technology is changing. You cannot be into the yesterday mode. Status quo will get killed in times to come. I mean, there was a time when a 1 year status quo was good, I think time has come when there cannot be a status quo. It has to be progressive training, it has to be regular training, and that's again where academy industry interface can help in a big way to enhance technical thresholds, to upgrade their premises. Today, industries globally are getting into from automation to autonomy. That's Industry 5.0. So Industry 4.0 is not the end all. It is just a journey. And I think we have to transcend from automation to autonomy. And that's the second big thing they can do. And third, of course, is humanize their systems, humanize their assets, humanize their equipment so that it talks. And when it talks, it only talks to you to tell you I'm well or I'm not well. And if I'm not well, what do you need to do? It makes life for MRO easy. And with software-defined systems, we have got software-defined radios. We go to get software-defined vehicles. We go to a lot of software-defined equipment, which is tending towards autonomy. This will become a compulsion and not a choice, both for the production agency and for the MRO specialists. So we have to keep in step with the future if we have to live it. All of us know that, when we were children, and I always say, we used to drink water after games, even from a tap in the, we never bothered. But today, it has to be a RO water. There was a time when you moved in public spaces without masks. Today is a time in very crowded places, it is advisable to put a mask because that is the times. I think we have to realize the power of change in times and adapt to it to be current and prepared for a progressive future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gen Kapoor. Actually, you have covered so many points, and they are all, each one of them has got a lot of value and they're very important points, and they need to be pursued. Absolutely no doubt. And I think, so viewers, this is a sample of what we bring to you from our members, and you have seen the wisdom which Gen Kapoor has just shared with us. And though we would have liked to carry on with this interaction, we will bring this particular interaction to a close, and we'll request Gen Kapoor to join us again for future interactions. And I thank the viewers for being with us today. The links to Gen Kapoor's profile, LinkedIn profile, are there in the show notes below. Do subscribe to our channel if you like our content, and come back for future videos. This is a platform, as we had discussed during the initial part of the interaction today, for MRO professionals. And as Gen Kapoor has mentioned, we would like as many MRO professionals they can join us, and it's free. There's no charge. So you can use any of the links below to get in touch with us, and we will send you an invitation. You can join our group. And with that, I thank Gen Kapoor for his interaction today with us, and thanking you also, viewers. We bring this particular interview to a close. Jai Hind.